Well, I would like to welcome you here this afternoon. We're so glad that you're here. We're looking forward to the radio presentation that we have, Christmas Carol. The church here is glad to be able to host, and we really appreciate our performers. I'd like to let you know as well is there is a free will offering after the service, and that will be directed towards the lights of Northeast Park and Windmont Park. And of course, we're here to remember and celebrate the Christmas season, which is the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. And that's what's key. And I've been telling my church to just slow down and enjoy the Christmas season. I know it can be chaotic and rushed, but really at the end of the day, we can celebrate the good things of God. And now we look forward to our performance tonight. Lord bless you.
30 seconds to air. Thank you. Thank you very much. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the WFBC radio studios, the Mistletoe Players presents Theater of the Mind. Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol, a radio dramatization written by Philip Grecian and based on the novella by Charles Dickens. In a moment, our story, but first, these words. Gentlemen, does your hair resemble a dried out bird's nest full of dandruff flakes? Do you plaster your hair down like a cheap gigolo, smelling to high heaven?
Ew, what a stink!
When girls get a gander at the tip top of your noggin, do they go...
Ew!
Well, here's a friendly hint that may just help you out in the romance department. Starting tomorrow, why not try Bremel Hair Tonic? Yes, sirree, you'll be heading for success with Bremel Groomed Hair. A success with the gals and on the job. Bremel always keeps hair looking mighty attractive, always in place. A real sex appealer. Bremel Hair Tonic does lots more than keep your hair handsome looking.
Bremel, the swank hair tonic, makes your filthy bird's nest clean. A little dab will do ya, all the pretty gals will scream. Not only will dames love it, your barber will shout out with glee. Bremel, the swank hair tonic, your dandruff will be history.
Buy some Bremel today. Your hair will thank you. Now fill your cup with hot buttered rum, call the family together, and move in close to the warm glow of your radio dial to hear A Christmas Carol, the story of Ebenezer Scrooge.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly,
The kind of music that comes around once a year always makes me feel good. A Christmas song. Well, more than that, a Christmas carol. A part of Christmas. A part of you. For as long as you can remember. Like an old friend.
Well, that's one kind of Christmas carol, but we're here to present another kind, one written by Charles Dickens in 1843. It takes place in London, England, and it's the story of mean old Ebenezer Scrooge. Shall we tell a story then?
Sure. Tell a story.
All right then, let's see. How shall we begin? Well, Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail.
A doornail?
Yes, odd, isn't it? But that's what Mr. Dickens said, as dead as a doornail.
I don't know what's particularly dead about a doornail, but that is what Marley was as dead as. And Marley was dead. Therefore,
A doornail.
a doornail.
But a doornail's not dead in the first place.
Neither was Marley in the first place.
Oh?
But finally, in the second place, he was. Now, you must understand that Marley was quite dead, or else nothing wonderful can come from the story we're about to tell.
I think we all understand that, but tell us about Scrooge.
Shush, now, we're getting to Scrooge. Scrooge and Marley had been partners in business before Marley died, and they called their business establishment...
Scrooge and Marley?
Strangely enough, yes. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name on the sign. There it stood for years, Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people called Scrooge Scrooge and sometimes Marley. He answered to both. It was all the same to him. The only change over the years was that he'd had Marley's desk moved out because...
Marley was dead?
Quite.
As a doornail.
Yes. They had been partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was Marley's only friend.
And Marley was Scrooge's only friend?
Because no one else could tolerate either of them. Between the two, there wasn't an ounce of heart, not a tuppence of compassion. Why, when Marley died, Scrooge didn't even close the shop. You know why?
He said it would be bad business?
Exactly.
But tell us about Scrooge.
Oh, he was a tight-fisted old skinflint. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint. His eyes were colder than a snowman.
That is cold.
Yes, it is. He carried the cold within him always. It made his hair the color of snow after the wagons had passed. It froze his old features, nipped his nose, shriveled his cheeks, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his lips thin and cruel and blue and frostbitten. And it spoke out through him in his cold, icy, grating voice. And he never thawed even 1 degree, not even at Christmas. Christmas? Humbug! Now, tell the story and be quick about it.
Once upon a time.
Do they always have to start out once upon a time?
How about we were somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert?
No.
Last night I dreamt I went to Mandalay again.
No.
Whether I shall turn out to be the hero of my own life.
No.
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
No.
Well then, you shall have to be satisfied with once upon a time. That's what Mr. Dickens wrote, and I don't think we should tamper. So, once upon a time, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, and he could hear the people in the court outside go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts and stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them.
The old grandfather's clock in Scrooge's office struck 3. And though it was only mid-afternoon, it was dark and foggy outside. It had been that way all day. Scrooge's clerk, Bob Cratchit, sat at his desk copying letters. He wore a long white scarf to keep out the bitter cold, for Scrooge was too stingy to keep a warm fire blazing at the hearth.
And on this particular Christmas Eve, Scrooge had a visitor. It was his nephew, Fred, who entered the establishment all in a glow. His eyes sparkling with the spirit of Christmas radiating from his windburned face.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that.
I do mean it. What reason have you to be so merry? You're poor enough.
What reason have you to be so angry? You're rich enough.
Humbug.
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be in such a world of fools? Merry Christmas indeed. What's Christmas but a time for paying bills without money, for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? Every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. Oh, that's good, a stake of holly.
Uncle!
Nephew, well, you keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
But you don't keep Christmas in any way.
Let me leave it alone then. It is best left alone.
On the contrary, Christmas is a good time. A time when men and women open their hearts freely. A time of love and the spirit of giving. And though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good.
Humbug.
And will do me good.
Humbug.
And I say God bless it.
God bless it. Another song from you, Cratchit, and you'll spend your Christmas looking for another position.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Come, don't be angry, Uncle. Dine with us tomorrow.
No.
My wife is preparing a Christmas dinner that a king would envy.
I am not a king.
Mother thought you were.
Now, my sister is dead, and it is a charity that she is, so she cannot see what a worthless rogue her son has become.
You know better than that.
I tell you, Fan is dead. Every year you come storming into my office, trailing in bushels of snow, disrupt my day and babble about Christmas and how wonderful it is. And every year you invite me to Christmas dinner.
And every year you turn me down.
Exactly.
And every year you say, humbug.
And I say it again, humbug. Now, if you know what I will say before I say it, why do you bother to come here every year to hear me say it?
Because, Uncle, one of these times, one of these Christmases, you will accept my invitation.
Humbug. Now get up. Good afternoon.
Uncle, it's Christmas.
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry for you, but Merry Christmas all the same, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
I said good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Merry Christmas, Bob.
Well, Merry Christmas, sir.
Cratchit.
Yes, sir. Sorry, Mr. Scrooge.
Merry Christmas indeed. And there's Cratchit wishing him the same, and he hasn't but 15 shillings a week to his name. Mad as hatters, every one of them. Mad as hatters. Oh, who is this now? Oh, more fools. A whole world of fools. Well, how confused them.
This is Scrooge and Marley's establishment, I believe.
It is.
Have we the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
If I were Mr. Marley, I would not have answered when you spoke just now.
He is deaf?
He is dead. He died 7 years ago on this very night. And he's still dead.
Then you would be Mr. Scrooge.
Oh, how proud your mother must be of your discerning nature. Now, out with what is it you want?
It is Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
I'm aware of it, thank you. No one will let me forget it.
And during Christmas, our organization,
A charitable one.
sees to it through donations from men such as yourself that the poor are not forgotten.
Forgotten? How could I ever forget them? I pay taxes to support the workhouses for them. They pass me on the streets every day, and every other fool seems to be concerned with their well-being and talks incessantly about their plight. Now, how could I ever forget them?
Exactly.
I am reminded every day that the poor need this, the poor need that. Now put them in prison where they belong if they haven't money to pay their debts. At least there they would have a free meal. Oh, are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the workhouses. They can go to the workhouses and put in 15 hours a day of hard labor. Oh, but wait, is it possible? Are the workhouses still in operation?
I wish I could say that they were not.
Those who work there are fed, are they not?
They eat gruel.
Good! Now, if they want better food, they can go find better jobs. I did.
Mr. Scrooge.
And I'm glad to hear that the workhouses are still in operation. Why, I was afraid that something had occurred to stop them.
We are trying to raise money to buy the poor some meat and drink to celebrate Christmas. How much would you wish to give?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I wish to give nothing. I wish to be left alone. I do not make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I pay taxes to support the prisons and the workhouses. Let the poor go to them.
Many can't go there, and many would rather die.
Yes, I know. So then, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population.
But...
Good afternoon.
Why, good afternoon, Mr. Scrooge.
Afternoon, Mr. Scrooge.
Meanwhile, the fog of darkness thickened. The cold became intense. The but the Christmas spirit warmed the people of London town.
One young fellow stood outside Scrooge's door, and in the hope of a mug of hot chocolate, entered and serenaded him with a Christmas carol.
Get away from my door, you young roughneck! Away with you! God rest ye merry gentlemen of all the...
Good night, Mr. Scrooge.
And where do you think you're going, Cratchit?
Home, sir.
Oh, you finish your work then?
Yes, sir.
All of it?
Yes, sir.
And you will want to stay home all day tomorrow, I suppose?
Yes, sir, if it's quite convenient, sir.
It is not convenient.
But tomorrow's Christmas, sir.
Humbug. It is not fair.
It's only once a year, sir.
Only once a year, sir. You pick my pocket once a year. You only waste a whole working day once a year. You get no other day off all year. Why should you get Christmas?
But, sir...
Go on and take tomorrow off then.
Oh, thank you, sir.
But be here earlier the next day.
Yes, sir. Very well, sir. Thank you, sir. And Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
So Scrooge closed up his office and went home to a gloomy suite of rooms on the upper floor of an unhappy old building and an unhappy old neighborhood. Its yard was so dark that even Scrooge, who knew every stone, had to grope his way to the foot of the wooden stairs rising up along the outside wall. And this Christmas Eve, like every Christmas Eve before, he mumbled angrily to himself as he climbed the steps to his front door.
Yeah, Christmas. Humbug. Merry Christmas, Uncle, he says. Idiot. Christmas pudding head, yes. How much good has ever done him? Well, a happy new year, he says. Now, what is new about the new year? Huh? Same as the old year. Miserable. And Bob Cratchit with his 15 shillings a week and a wife and family to support, talking about a Merry Christmas.
It was very late and very dark now, and Scrooge, who had took this trip every evening, could barely see as he climbed to his front door.
We are trying to raise money to buy the poor some meat and drink to celebrate Christmas. Now, what do they have to celebrate? Why, they're poor, aren't they? God rest ye merry gentlemen. Humbug.
But finally, he did reach the top, and then began searching his pockets for the key. There was nothing at all particular about the knocker on Scrooge's door. He had seen it night and morning during his whole residence in the apartment. Nor was Scrooge a man of great imagination, and he had not thought much about the dead Jacob Marley in 7 years. But as he found his key and turned, the knock on the door began to move, changed, and became the face of
Jacob Marley,
as clearly as Scrooge had seen him in life.
You're dead. Marley is dead.
Scrooge's blood ran cold, and he stood a moment facing away from the dreaded door. Finally, he was brave enough to turn and look, and Marley's face was gone. Scrooge stood facing his own door, and it was only his door, and nothing else. The door he had seen thousands of times before.
Never happened. Imagine it. Only shadows. Marley is dead. Humbug.
Scrooge locked himself in with a double lock. And thus secured against surprise, he changed into his dressing gown, slippers, and nightcap, and sat down close to the fire to eat his gruel.
Merry Christmas, humbug. And Marley's face on the door. More humbug. I've seen things that aren't there. Marley is dead. Been dead for 7 years, and dead men don't... What was that? There it is again. Who is it? Who's there? The wind.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Who is it? Who's there? Who calls me? Let me see you. Where are you hiding? You won't frighten me. But how did you get him? Where are you? Show yourself. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Of course it has. The wind in the chimney flue. That's all. Wind in the...
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Who are you? Why do you call me? Show yourself.
I'm here, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Jacob Marley, but you're dead.
I am.
But then you must be.
I am.
What do you want with me?
Much.
This can't be Marley. Who are you? Tell me who you are.
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
It is Marley. No, I'm imagining this. I've gone mad. Mad with all this infernal Merry Christmas.
You don't believe in me.
No.
You doubt your own senses.
Why, I may be dreaming you might be a nightmare brought on by eating too much. You might be a crumb of spoiled cheese, or underdone potato. You may not have risen from your grave, but from my gravy. Please, Jacob. Why do you trouble me?
Do you believe then?
I must, but why are you here?
It is my curse.
Your curse, Jacob?
I have been cursed to wander through the world and witness what I cannot share. To witness the unhappiness I caused in life, unhappiness I cannot change in death. Oh!
Why do you moan? Are you in pain?
I grieve over the chain I wear.
Well, why do you wear it?
Because it is my own. Because I forged it in life. I made it myself, link by link and yard by yard, each link a sin committed in life. Look, here, with this link I turned my back on a man who asked for my help.
I see it.
And this one, I cheated a friend out of what was his. And this, thievery, this, greed, then apathy, sloth, malice, revenge, disloyalty, selfishness, cowardice. Link upon link, I forged the chain in life I now bear in death. Will we pay for our sins, Ebenezer Scrooge?
It is quite a long chain, Jacob.
Yours is longer.
My chain?
The chain you will wear in the afterlife. It grows longer each day.
No.
I can do nothing for you, Ebenezer Scrooge. You have made your own chain. You have added new links every hour. It was as heavy and as full as mine 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
No, please, Jacob. Tell me it isn't so.
I cannot. Only you have the power to change yourself, Ebenezer Scrooge. And you have much to make up for. I have sat, invisible, beside you many a day since my death.
What an unpleasant thought, Jacob. But you died 7 years ago. Why have you not gone to your reward?
Oh, a weary journey lies before me, Ebenezer Scrooge. I must roam through eternity. I cannot rest. I may not sleep. There is no peace for Jacob Marley.
It is your curse.
It is.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence, these were all my business. Or should have been.
But Jacob, you...
Hear me! I am here to provide a warning. You have yet a chance to escape my fate.
You always were a good friend to me. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you.
You will be haunted.
Haunted?
By 3 spirits.
Hey, thank you very much, Jacob, for the offer. But I think I'd like...
You must! For without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first on Christmas morning when the bell tolls 1.
But
Expect the second on the following night at the same hour.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it done with, Jacob?
The third will come on the final night at the stroke of midnight.
Couldn't they just write letters?
And now I must go, Ebenezer Scrooge, to join the other lost souls on our long journey.
Go where?
Out there.
Out the window? But Jacob, I'm so high, you'll fall. Jacob, I can't see you. Jacob, wait. No, don't leave me, Jacob, please, Jacob, don't. Gone. Oh, gone. I'm cold. I've closed the, better. Warmer. But he just went up, straight up, no, never that more likely. Imagine it. Never happened. Humbug. Never happened. Well, that's settled then. Off to bed now. Off to bed.
And so Scrooge slipped into his bed, drew the curtains, and slept. Until when the hour bell sounded, lights flashed up in the room. His bed curtains were drawn back and...
Ebenezer Scrooge?
You're the spirit, the one that Jacob Marley said would come?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
Your past.
Are you a child?
Do I seem a child?
Yes. Well, a moment ago you did, but now you seem as old as I, or even older. You change.
Indeed, the spirit's hair was white, yet its face was not wrinkled in it, leading it to an air of ancient wisdom and youthful hope.
It wore a tunic of the purest white and held a branch of fresh green holly in its hand, while its dress was trimmed in summer flowers.
And from the crown of its head there burned a bright, clear flame, while it held under its arm a large pointed hat, shaped like a candle snuffer.
You are so bright. Would you please be so good as to put on your cap and extinguish your glow?
What? Would you put out the light I give?
Oh, well, why are you here?
Rise from your bed and walk with me.
Very well. Let me put on my slippers and
Come.
Outside?
But first...
But it's quite cold outside.
My light will warm and protect you.
Put out the window. I'll fall.
I will protect you from it.
But, a long walk?
Very long.
Into the country?
Into your past.
But I...
Take my hand. Have faith and lead.
But I don't think ever...
Do you know this place?
I do. It's a school I attended as a boy.
How many Christmases did you spend here?
Too many.
How many years did you sit at your desk in this schoolroom? A solitary child, neglected by friends and family.
My father never cared where I spent my Christmas.
But there was one, Ebenezer, one who loved you and whom you loved.
There was my sister, dear little Fan, oh, sweet little Fan.
Answer the door, Ebenezer Scrooge.
What?
Say, come in.
Come in?
Dear, dear big brother!
Fan!
Are you surprised to see me?
I am. I am. Oh, Fan!
I have come to bring you home, dear brother. Home for Christmas.
Oh, but how?
She sees you as you were then.
But not you.
No.
Oh.
We shall go home forever and ever, dear brother. Father is ever so much kinder than he used to be.
But has he treated you well, little Fan?
Oh, yes. He even spoke to me gently one night as I was going to bed, and he seemed so calm and good that I was not afraid to ask him once more if you might come home to us. And he wasn't angry at all. And he said, yes, you should come home for good. And he sent me in a coach to bring you.
Oh, Fan, I wish.
We're to be together for Christmas and have the merriest time in all the world.
Oh, God bless you, Fan.
God bless you, big brother. Oh, please, do come now. Come with me.
Oh, yes, Fan,
You cannot.
go on without me, Fan. I'll be alone. Go on now.
I'll see to having your trunk and boxes tied to the top of the carriage. Don't be long. Oh, I love you so, Abby, and we shall be together again, and it will be the best Christmas ever.
The best Christmas ever.
I'll wait at the end of the path.
At the end of the path.
Always a delicate creature, whom a breath might have withered, but she had a large heart.
Yes, but please, Spirit, let me see her again, only a little while longer.
Time is short.
Yes, more than we know.
You never had that Christmas at home, Ebenezer Scrooge.
No. The moment I walked through the door, Father flew into a rage, chased me from the house, Fan wept.
That was long ago.
Long ago. Yes, long ago.
And what became of Fan?
She grew into a beautiful young woman.
And died in childbirth.
Yes.
The child lived.
My nephew, Fred, he came yesterday to wish me a Merry Christmas. I sent him away.
The time and place have changed now, Ebenezer Scrooge. Do you know this place?
I was apprenticed here.
Boys, where are you? Dick Wilkins.
It's old Fezziwig, bless him. Old Fezziwig alive again.
Where are you, Wilkins?
Here, Mr. Fezziwig.
Dick Wilkins, he was my best friend in those days, Spirit. Oh, poor Dick, dear Dick.
And where have you left Ebenezer? That young rascal, where has he got to?
Spirit, could I?
Go to him. He will see you as the young man you were.
Oh, thank you, Spirit, thank you. Here, sir, I'm here, Mr. Fezziwig.
Ah, there you are, Ebenezer. Sneaking off to spy on the pretty girls, were you?
Oh, no, sir.
Oh, no, sir. Oh, no, sir. Of course not. You young rogue. No matter, boys, no matter. No more work tonight. It's Christmas Eve. Clear away, my lads. Time for a celebration. We're having a party, boys. Clear away, Dick. Clear away, Ebenezer. Move the furniture back against the walls. Roll up the carpets. Call in the neighbors. Call in the fiddler. Call in the customers and the passerby. We'll dance until the top cows come home. We'll celebrate Christmas as if it's never been celebrated before.
In came all the young men and women from all over Fezziwig's offices and warehouses.
Everyone's invited. The whole world's invited. Everyone dances. Everyone dances. Find a partner, Dick.
In came the housemaid with her present to make her. In they all came, some shyly, some boldly, some gracefully, some awkwardly, some pushing, some pulling.
Here, find a partner.
You find a partner too, Ebenezer.
In they all came, anyhow, and every how. And away they all went, 20 couples at once, hands half round and and back again the other way.
Come, Mrs. Fezziwig, dance with me.
Down the middle and up again, round and starting over.
Yo ho, my boys. Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson. Kelley ho!
Don't let it stop, Spirit. Never let it stop. Leave me here with them forever and ever. I was never as happy as when I was here.
A small matter to make these silly people happy.
Small?
Don't you think so?
Fezziwig had the power to make us happy or unhappy. And he chose to make us happy. He chose it. It was a pleasure to work for such a man who was so full of joy. Well, he made our work a pleasure. Oh, such an employer, such a kind, such a benevolent...
And what is it?
Nothing. I was just thinking of my poor clerk, Bob Cratchit. I'm afraid his work isn't what one would call a pleasure.
But such an employer he has. Such a kind, benevolent...
No, stop it. No, please, stop. I know, but...
My time grows short. Quickly now. The years fly by. Behold!
Ebenezer.
Belle? It's Belle!
She loved you once.
I loved her.
You never married.
No.
She loved another?
No, but she... It wasn't that I loved her less. I loved...
You love your money more than you love me, Ebenezer.
Belle?
Stay. She can neither see nor hear you.
Thank you, Spirit.
A golden idol has replaced me. You fear the world too much and don't love it enough. I have seen you change from a man of nobility into an evil, twisted slave of greed. Our love was born when we were both poor, but with the acquisition of money, you've changed. You are not the man who loved me. You are not the man I loved. I release you, Ebenezer. May you be happy in the life you've chosen. I will not stand between you and your money. Goodbye, Ebenezer.
Spirit, show me no more. Why do you torture me?
Belle married another.
Yes.
But she kept you in her heart, Ebenezer Scrooge.
And I kept her in mine.
Her children could have been yours.
Yes. Spirit, remove me from this place. I cannot bear it. Take me back. Take me back. Back to my own room. My own bed. Please. Me no longer.
After this short break, we will return to the Mistletoe Players production of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. And we're out. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We will return to our drama in a moment, but first, a word from our sponsor. Are you guilty of careless driving because windshield bug spots dulled your vision?
Yes, I'm guilty.
Stop straining to see through a bug-spattered windshield. Duck's toilet cake gets the squashed bugs off quickly, easily, yes, even when the sun has baked them into the glass.
Remember, you need clear vision as well as good brakes to avoid accidents. You'll find Duck's toilet cake leaves the glass polish so crystal clear, you'll hardly even know it's there.
I feel so much safer after I clean my windshield with Duck's toilet cake. It leaves no dangerous oily film to pick up dust and make night driving difficult.
Duck's toilet cake, the cake of 100 uses.
You better wash high, you better wash low. Behind your ears too, I'm telling you so. Duck's toilet cake is cleaning uptown. It washes up cars, it washes up bars, and out in LA it washes up stars. Duck's toilet cake is cleaning uptown. It's found in every bathroom, from sea to shining sea. It's used by our dear president, and it's used by you and me. You better wash high, you better wash low. mistletoe. Duck's toilet cake is cleaning uptown.
Buy a cake of Duck's toilet soap today. Keep it in your car. And now we return to Philip Grecian's radio adaptation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
What? The clock? 1 o'clock. I've slept through a whole day. Oh, Jake and Marley warned me. Another spirit, he said. Another spirit at 1 o'clock. Oh.
But no spirit appeared. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, nothing. Then at the quarter hour, for all the candles and lamps had been extinguished in the room, Scrooge became aware of a shaft of light, growing brighter by the moment.
What's that? A lamp? One of my candles, man?
It wasn't.
Oh, it's coming from the sitting room.
It was. Scrooge could see the light shining under and around the door. He got up softly, stepped into his slippers, and shuffled to the door. Then the moment his hand was on the knob, a voice called out to him.
Ebenezer Scrooge! Enter! Enter, my friend!
He threw open the door, and the light exploded into his bedchamber. The walls and the ceilings of Scrooge's sitting room were covered with holly, mistletoe, and ivy, reflecting back the light like so many scattered mirrors.
And such a mighty blaze went roaring up the chimney as that old hearth had never known in Scrooge's time, heaped upon the floor to form a kind of throne where turkeys, geese, game, poultry, and great joints of meat,
Suckling pigs, long wreaths of sausages, mince pies, plum puddings, barrels of oysters, red-hot chestnut, cherry, cheap apples, juicy oranges, luscious pears, immense cakes,
and seething bowls of punch that filled the air with their delicious steaming perfume. Upon this throne sat a jolly giant, wielding a glowing torch shaped like Plenty's horn.
Come, Ebenezer Scrooge, come and know me better, man.
Must I?
Aye, that you must.
Who are you then?
I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me.
The giant was clothed in a long green velvet robe, trimmed in white fur. On its head it wore a holly wreath, set here and there with shining icicles. Its eyes sparkled and its curly hair and beard were long and free.
You have never seen the like of me before.
Never.
Surely you've met some of my elder brothers and sisters.
Have you many, Spirit?
More than 1,800.
A very large family indeed.
Aye.
But Spirit, conduct me where you will. Last night, I think it was last night, I learned a lesson from the Spirit. Tonight, if you can, teach me more.
Come, touch my robe.
Where are we going?
Out into the streets, man!
Scrooge stood unseen with the Spirit, who freely sprinkled incense from his torch over the people as they passed. It was a very uncommon kind of torch, for whenever there were angry words, it restored good humor immediately.
Hey, hey, steady there, watch where you're going.
Me, look at you, stumbling along with your packages. Ran right into me.
No such thing. My parcels and packages are scattered all over.
Mine as well.
If you'd been watching, it would have never happened.
You were watching then?
I was.
Then how is it you didn't see me?
I see you now.
And what are you going to do about it then?
Why, I'm going to help you with your packages.
Oh, thank you.
It doesn't seem I've damaged anything. It was all my fault, you know.
Nonsense. If I'd watched where I was going, this wouldn't have happened here. These are yours.
Thank you. No harm done. Ah, look here. We've collided directly in front of a chocolate shop. Would you care to have something? I'll pay.
Delighted.
After all, it's a shame to quarrel on Christmas Day.
And so it is. God love it, so it is.
Spirit, is there a peculiar flavor in what you sprinkle from your torch?
There is. My own. The spirit of Christmas.
why do you sprinkle so much of it over the poor families as they pass?
Because they need it most and treasure it most. Come, I'll show you.
But where are we going?
To the home of your clerk, Bob Cratchit.
What has ever got your precious father then? Peter, Belinda, did he say he would be late today?
No, Mother.
No, Mother, he didn't.
Bless his heart alive, I've seen nothing like it. He has Tiny Tim with him too.
Yes, Mother. Tim especially wanted to go to church today.
I don't understand how they could be so late. Tiny Tim usually sits up on his father's shoulder and keeps him moving right along. And today especially, with Christmas dinner almost ready for the table.
Martha isn't here yet either.
I'm watching for her.
Martha is later than she's ever been. I do hope nothing has happened to spoil our plans.
I see her. Here comes Martha.
Martha's here, Mother.
Get the door, Peter.
Yes, Mother.
Merry Christmas, Mother.
Merry Christmas, Martha. How late you are.
I'm sorry, Mother. We had a deal of work to finish up last night and had to clear away this morning.
Well then, as long as you've come, sit you down by the fire and have a warm.
There's Father coming.
With Tiny Tim.
Hi, Martha. Hi.
Over here.
No, hide behind the door.
Get the bedroom.
Merry Christmas, one and all. Wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Tim.
Merry Christmas.
That's the boy. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Belinda. Merry Christmas, Peter.
Why, where's our Martha? She was coming today, wasn't she?
No, I'm afraid she's not coming this Christmas.
Not coming? Not coming up on Christmas Day? Oh, that...
Surprise!
Martha's here. She was hiding.
Martha, hiding from me. You did come.
Of course I came, Father. How could I not on Christmas?
Let Tim down, Father.
We want to show him.
Come to the kitchen, Tim.
Oh, do, Tim. Mother has made the most wonderful pudding.
It's not out yet, but you can hear it singing in the copper.
It smells so like Christmas should smell.
Come see.
Oh, I have to see. Let me down, please, Father.
Down you go then, Tim. Oh, not so fast. Here, take your crutch first.
Come, Tim. Come see.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Hurry, hurry. Come on, Tim, hurry.
Ah, what would Christmas be without a visit from the eldest daughter, eh, Martha? Why, it's all Tim's talked of all week.
How did Tim behave today?
As good as gold, and better. Somehow, you know, he gets thoughtful sitting there by himself. He told me, coming home, that he hoped the people in church saw him looking so happy and bright, because they might forget their own troubles and remember who made the lame walk and enter into the spirit and meaning of Christmas all the more. He's growing stronger, you know, stronger every day.
Yes, of course he is, Father.
Yes, he is.
You should smell the pudding, Father.
A perfect pudding.
The best pudding ever in the world.
Oh, and what makes you such an expert on puddings?
Haven't I tasted the puddings Mother makes every year?
Indeed you have.
They're the best puddings that ever could be. And this pudding is the best of the best.
The best of the best. I'll wager it is, Tim. I'll wager it is.
Come, children. Time for dinner.
Oh, you hear that, Tim? Quick, Peter, run and fetch the goose from the oven.
Yes, Father.
Martha, Belinda, finish the table.
Yes, Mother.
Right away, Mother.
Okay, right away.
Tim, you shall sit at the head of the table with me. Hurry now.
Here's Peter with the roast goose.
The goose.
The goose! Just look at it.
See the goose, Martha?
Never was there such a Christmas goose. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Hurrah! Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Goose.
It looks wonderful.
Cratchit has a very large family. I had no idea.
Have you ever asked?
No, it seems such a small meal for such a large family.
But honestly, come by. Your clerk works very hard for us. 15 shillings a week.
I see no presents for the children.
There isn't money enough. They keep Christmas in their hearts, not in their pocketbooks. They give presents of love.
But what of Tiny Tim? Such a frail little fellow.
Shh! Time passes. They've done with their meal. The pudding my dears, time for the pudding.
The pudding! It's time for the pudding!
Here comes the pudding. Here comes the pudding.
Smell that. Smell the pudding.
A beautiful pudding.
A perfect pudding.
A wonderful pudding.
An excellent pudding.
A wretchedly small pudding.
Bigger in their eyes than in yours, and the finest tasting pudding in London, I'll vow. A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears.
Merry Christmas.
A toast.
A toast.
To Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
The founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had your Mr. Scrooge here right now, Bob Cratchit. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon.
My dear, the children, Christmas Day.
To drink to the health of such a stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge? We carry the Christmas spirit too far.
No, bother. Mr. Scrooge needs Christmas as much as we do, even more.
Oh, Tim. Very well, then. I'll drink to his health, but only because it's Christmas Day.
That's the way. To Mr. Scrooge.
To Mr. Scrooge.
God bless him.
God bless him.
And God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
Special announcement. Young Master Timothy Cratchit will grace us with a song from his vast repertoire.
Oh yes, a song, Tim. Sing us a song.
Yes.
Oh, please do.
Please do.
What child is this who laid to rest on
But they all seem so happy.
Aye.
But they're poor. I don't pay Cratchit enough for one man.
Oh, now it's out, eh? You don't pay Bob Cratchit enough for one man to live decently, yet he supports a family.
Why, I was going to say...
Yes, I know what you were going to say. The strength of that family lies in the family itself, not in the paltry sum that Bob Cratchit brings home. Love is the main element there, not money.
Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
These shadows remain unaltered by the future. I see a vacant seat in the chimney corner and a small crutch without an owner.
No, kind spirit. Say he will be spared. There are hospitals.
If he is going to die, he had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Whose words are those?
My own.
Why, man, what right have you? How hateful you are. You are less fit to live than millions like this poor child.
Spirit, I didn't know Who's that?
Your nephew.
My nephew? Fred? What's he doing at the Cratchit house?
He's not, and neither are we. Welcome to the home of your nephew.
And he said Christmas was a humbug. A humbug. And he believed it too.
He's an evil old thing.
Why, bless you, wife of mine. You put on such a serious face. Uncle Scrooge is a comical old fellow, to be sure, and not as pleasant as he might be, but he suffers for it. I can't condemn him. He condemns himself.
Well put.
Thank you, Topper.
He's very rich, Fred.
Who? Topper? Then why hasn't he invited us to his house for Christmas Day?
No, I mean your Uncle Scrooge.
My uncle's wealth doesn't do him a bit of good. He lives like a rat.
A rat in a hole? I've seen his rooms.
As have I, and I'm sorry for him. He won't come to Christmas dinner with us. He stays home and eats his gruel. He only punishes himself.
And he's missed an excellent dinner.
That he has.
Let's talk of something else. He's an evil old thing, and I won't have my Christmas ruined with talk of him.
Absolutely right, my dear. What shall we talk about instead?
Let's play yes and no.
A splendid idea. Yes and no it is. Who will begin?
You start, Fred.
Oh, very well. I'll be something, and you must guess what I am. Ready?
Ready?
So am I. Begin. Guess what I am.
Are you a vegetable?
No.
A mineral?
No.
Then you're an animal.
Yes.
He's an animal.
A jungle animal?
No.
A fish?
No.
Is an insect an animal?
Well, yes.
A Oh, all right then. Are you an insect?
No.
A country animal?
No.
A city animal?
Yeah.
A dog?
No.
A city animal, a city animal. Well, Spirit, I know they can't hear me, but are you a man?
Do you have 4 legs?
No.
Are you an insect with many legs?
I told you, Topper. I'm not an insect.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Well, ask him if he's a man. Somebody ask if he's a man.
Are you a disagreeable animal?
Yes.
Do you grunt and growl?
Well, yes.
He's a banker.
Are you a vicious animal?
Oh, yes.
Do you have sharp teeth?
No.
A man, you're a man, he's a man. Oh, Spirit, this is wonderful, wonderful. Why, I never knew there could be such.
Do you live in London?
Yes.
But you hear that? London, he lives in London.
A horse?
No.
A canary?
No.
A toad?
No.
A man, he's a man. Somebody guess.
An animal we might see in the street?
Well, yes.
Aha, a tiger.
Topper, there aren't any tigers in the streets of London.
Oh, how about a bear then?
No.
A cat?
No.
A mouse.
No.
Oh, wait. I found it. I know what Fred is.
He knows, Spirit. Our Topper knows. Tell.
What is it?
What is he?
A man.
Yes. Which man?
Queen Victoria?
Is Queen Victoria a man?
None of my business.
No, not Queen Victoria.
Prince Albert then.
No.
Wait, what do we know? He's a disagreeable animal.
He grunts and growls.
A vicious animal.
Maybe a tiger.
Not a tiger.
Right, not a tiger. I got it.
Spirit, you hear that? He knows the man. Our Topper knows the man.
Who is it?
Uncle Scrooge.
Yes.
You hear that, Spirit? It is I'm a disagreeable animal.
Well, my uncle has given us plenty of merriment, and it would be ungrateful not to drink to his health. To my Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle
Scrooge. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the old man.
Merry Christmas.
Come, we must go.
Oh, must we? But it's all been so happy.
We must. Come.
They went far and saw much, visiting many homes where the Spirit's torch brought the happiness of the Christmas spirit. They stood beside sick beds, and those who suffered were cheerful. They brought the comforts of holiday and home to those who were away in foreign lands.
They stood with those in despair and brought hope. With those in poverty who were, for the time, rich in spirit. It was a long night, though Scrooge felt that it was more than a single night, and observed that the spirit grew visibly older until, finally, its hair was thin and white.
Are spirits' lives so short?
My life upon this earth ends tonight.
Tonight?
Aye, tonight at midnight.
Forgive me for asking, Spirit, but in all the time we've been together, I've noticed from time to time something at your feet, hiding under your robe.
Aye.
But may I ask that...
You may. And since you ask, look here, man. Behold.
2 demon children crouched at the Spirit's feet, wretched, frightful, hideous. They clung to its legs. Scrooge stepped back and covered his eyes.
Horrible!
A boy and a girl, meager, ragged, scowling and wolfish, their features stale and shriveled, pinched and twisted. Where angels lived in other children, devils lurked in these. Glaring out and menacing, nothing could prepare Scrooge for the sight of these shriveled monsters.
Spirit! Are they yours?
They are man.
Man's?
This boy is ignorance. The girl is want. Beware of them both, but most of all, beware of this boy.
Have they no refuge or resource? Is there no hope for them? And Tiny Tim, is there no hope for Tiny Tim?
Are there no prisons?
No, don't mock me.
Are
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Scrooge had fallen to his knees and buried his head. Then at the final stroke of midnight, he lifted up his eyes to find the spirit. And behold, instead, a solemn, towering phantom, draped and hooded in deep black garment, concealing its face and form, it glided towards him like a mist along the ground.
Are you the ghost of Christmas yet to come? And you have come to show me the shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen? My future? Is that so, Spirit? Spirit, I fear you more than any of the others I've seen, but I know you mean only to do me good. I'm ready. Show me the future. Where are we, Spirit? Why, we've returned about Cratchit's house. Are we going to see the things that haven't happened? Things that will happen in the future? But why here? Why have we come here again? Spirit, where is Tiny Tim?
Peter?
Yes, Mother?
Isn't it time for your father to be home?
Past time.
Go to the window and watch for him, will you, Peter?
He walks a little slower than he used to these last few evenings, Mother.
Slower? Why, I have known him to walk very fast indeed with Tiny Tim on his shoulder. Very fast indeed.
So have I, Mother.
Yes, often.
But Tiny Tim was very light to carry, you know, and his father loved him so that it was no trouble.
No trouble at all.
No trouble at all.
There's Father coming.
Good evening, my dear. Belinda, Peter.
Oh, sit down, Bob, sit down. There's tea on the hob. Peter, get your father some tea.
Yes, Mother.
Bob, did you go today to see?
Yes, I did. I wish you could have been with me. It would have done you good to see how beautiful it is. It's on a hill and looks out on this gentle slope of snow. You know how snow is when it's new, pure and white, with these little sparkling points of light scattered, you know, like little Christmas diamonds from my Tiny Tim. Oh, but you'll see it often. I knelt there and promised him that we would come again on Sunday. All of us. There now, my dear. Why, what would Tim say if he saw you like this? Why, Mother, he'd say, Christmas is a time for making merry, for counting our blessings. Our blessings. I saw Mr. Scrooge's nephew today.
Mr. Fred?
Yes, Mr. Fred. He saw that I looked just a little down, you know, and he asked what was troubling my mind. Well, I told him. And he said, I am heartily sorry, Mr. Cratchit. You remembered my name, you see. I am heartily sorry, he said. And sorry for your good wife, too. Though how he knew that, I'll never know.
Knew what?
That you were a good wife.
Oh, Bob.
Nah, that's more like it now.
What else did he say, Father?
Well, Peter, he said that if he could be of any service, I should come to him. And he gave me his card. He was so kind. It really seemed as if he had known our Tiny Tim.
I wish he had.
Yes, I think he would have loved Tim as we did. Such a patient and mild little fellow Tim was. We were very lucky to have had him with us, even for such a short time. Now everyone run for your coats. We'll go out and listen to the carolers. There's a fine snow coming down now.
It's snowing?
Truly? Hurry, run for your coats, hurry now.
Come, children.
Tim, I don't know if you can hear me, son, but we're going to be We're going to be just fine, Tim. Just fine. Oh, and Tim, Merry Christmas, son. Merry Christmas.
Spirit, this cannot be. You mustn't let this happen. Not Tiny Tim. Tell me that it is not too late. Where are we? Wait, this isn't Cratchit's house. Wait, I recognize it. We're in the street near my house. Why are we here?
I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
Well, who are they talking about, Spirit? Is it Tiny Tim?
I thought he'd never die. What was the matter with him?
I don't really care. He's dead. That's all that matters. In fact, I don't think anyone will care much.
My, whoever it is wasn't very well liked. Must have been a terrible sort of person.
What has he done with his money?
Well, he hasn't left it to me. I know that much.
It won't be a very large funeral.
It will be a very cheap funeral.
Why, man? Who would go? I can't think of anyone who would.
I don't mind going if a lunch is provided free. But they must feed me and only stay as long as there is food to be had.
Spirit, what villain has died? Who could be so terrible that these men would feel no compassion at his passing?
Hello, how are you?
Very good, and you?
Well, thank you. I see the old man's finally gone to keep the devil company.
So I'm told. Cold, isn't it?
Yes, Christmas, you know.
Quite.
Good morning, then.
Good morning.
But who are they talking about? Who? Where are we going, Spirit? Where? I don't know this street. Wait, there's a sign. Field Lane. Oh, where is Saffron Hill?
Saffron Hill, a collection of filthy shops, a colony of petty larceny, inhabited by those who traffic in stolen and salvaged goods. Here could be found wads of silk handkerchiefs resold by the pickpockets who spirited them away, old iron, bones, and heaps of mildewed wool and linen, rust and rot.
Alleys and archways, like so many cesspools, disgorged their offenses of smell and dirt and life upon the straggling streets, and the whole quarter reeked with crime, filth, and misery. Here sat a low-browed beetling shop where iron bones, bottles, and charnel house viscera were bought.
Inside were secrets that few would scrutinize, hidden in mountains of unseemingly rags, masses of corrupted fat. In the middle of it all, by a charcoal stove, sat a great, greasy spider of a man smoking his pipe.
Oh, Joe, you in?
Well, Mrs. Dilber, and you've not come alone.
We've run into each other down the way. We all been to the same treasure trove and come with plunder. This here's the Widow Crook.
Widow Crook.
Let's get on with it then.
These things is done with ceremony. Introductions first. And final, of course, you know, the Undertaker's man, Mr. Whitlow.
Whitlow.
Pleasure.
Look at the three of ye bearing gifts for old Joe, as if you were the Magi yourselves. Oh, when would the three of you meet again, eh? Oh, you couldn't have done it in a better place. Come in all the way. Shut the door after.
Listen to it scream.
Ain't a bit of rusty metal in this place as its own hinges, and no such old bones here as mine. What do you got? Undertaker's man first.
I got 2 keys, a pencil case, a pair of sleeve buttons, and a brooch of no great value.
No great value at all.
It's not fair. By the time I get them, they've been picked over good.
Still, business is business, so there. That's your account, and I wouldn't give another 6pence if I was to be boiled for not doing it. Who's next? Mrs. Dilber, Widow Crook.
All right.
Best for last, eh, Widow?
Here's mine, Joe.
Well, let's see what you have then, Mrs. Dilber. Sheets and towels, a pair of boots, 2 old-fashioned silver teaspoons, a pair of sugar tongs, and a coat, somewhat the worse for wear. Oh, I always give too much to the ladies. It's a weakness, and that's the way I ruin myself. Here's your account, then. If you asked me for another penny, I'd repent of being so liberal and take back half a crown.
Now undo my bundle, Joe.
All right, then. What's this, then? Bed curtains.
Bed curtains, his own.
His own curtain rings, too? You don't mean to say you took them down, rings and all, with him lying there?
Yes, I do. Why not?
Oh, you were born to make your fortune. What's this? His blankets.
Who else does you think? He isn't likely to take cold without him.
And this?
You may look through that shirt till your eyes ache, but you won't find a hole in it. It's the best he had. They'd wasted it hadn't been for me.
Wasted it?
They had it on him to be buried in, but I took it.
You took it off him while he was...
If calico ain't good enough for such a purpose, it ain't good enough for nothing. He can't look any uglier.
Mercy.
I should have had his shirt by rights.
Pipe down, Whitlow. You get plenty. Got anything else, widow?
That's the law.
Good. I feared you might be marketing the corpse itself.
No.
All right, then.
People on the street. I couldn't have got it out.
Why wasn't he a natural sort of bloke in his lifetime? That's what I'd like to know.
That's the Lord's own truth, ain't it?
He wouldn't give a poor old woman tuppence, don't I know? If he'd just been nicer to people, he might have had somebody looking after him when he was sick, instead of, dying all alone by himself in his room.
Truer words was never spoke. It's a judgment. That's what it is. I don't think he was ever kind to nobody in his life.
Spirit, please, I know there must be some lesson to be learned in the death of this man they speak of. No one could love such a man. Tell me his name. We're back on the stage. Where are we off to now, Spirit? Are we...
Merry Christmas, brother.
He sees me. Merry Christmas. Tell me, brother, have you heard about the man who died last night?
Oh, my, yes. The whole district's buzzing with the news. Mind you, I didn't know him myself, but from the talk I've heard, we're better off without him. He was a nasty old miser. No one mourns him.
But his name, do you know his name?
Why, of course. Doesn't everyone? It's Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge died last night. Merry Christmas, brother.
Spirit, I'm the one who died. I'm the one nobody mourned. Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. Assure me that I may yet change these shadows you show me, that I may make Tiny Tim well again, that he won't die, that I may alter my life and become a good man. I will honor Christmas in my heart and keep the spirit of Christmas all year round. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. All spirits will live in me. I have learned my lesson. Spirit, spirit, spirit! No, no, no! I'm back in my own bed, but another chance. I'm being given another chance. I'm not dead. And Tiny Tim's not dead. Another chance for Tiny Tim. Oh, I'll be good, spirits. I'll be good from now on. Oh, another chance. And Tiny Tim won't die. I'll send the doctors, the best doctors. And I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. As happy as an angel. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas I don't know how many days I've traveled with spirits, under the influence of spirits. Oh, I like that. Under the influence of spirits. But I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm a baby, a little baby. But now, no, I don't care. I like being a baby. Oh, I like being a baby. I like being a baby. Now, look out the window. A boy down on the street. Do you see that? Do you see that? Who am I talking to? There's nobody back here with me, I hope. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, you there.
Who, me?
Yes, that's you. What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. When the spirits have done it all in one night, they send me back. They can do anything they like, anything. You know that, don't you? Of course you do. No, who am I talking to? It's only me. Hello, my fine fellow.
Hello?
Now, do you know the poacher shop at the corner?
Yes, sir.
Oh, an intelligent boy, a remarkable boy. Have they sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? The big one?
What? The one as big as me?
Oh, delightful boy. Pleasure talking with you. Yes, my lad. The one as big as you.
It's still there, sir.
Good. Now, go and tell them to bring it here to me, and I'll buy it. And tell them where to take it. Come back with the man, and I'll give you a shilling.
A shilling?
Come back in less than 5 minutes, I'll give you half a crown.
Half a crown? Yes, sir. I'll be back, sir. Oh. Half a crown.
Oh, send it to Bob Cratchit. He won't know who sends it. Why, it's twice as big as Tiny Tim. But I must dress and meet the turkey downstairs. No, not the turkey. Quick. I'll have dinner with my nephew Fred. Won't he be surprised? Oh,
what a time old Scrooge had that Christmas. He had dinner with Fred and sang carols and played games, including Yes and No, which he won every time. And after dinner, he went round to all the shops and pounded on the doors until they were opened to him.
And he bought presents for all the Cratchits and had them sent to their house. But he instructed the shopkeepers not to tell who sent the presents. And by the time night fell, he had spent more money on presents and food for the poor and needy than he had ever spent on anything in his entire life.
And he was happier than he'd ever been in his life. But he was early at the office the next morning, so he could catch Bob Cratchit coming in late. And Bob was late.
Bob and his family had stayed up the night before celebrating the strangest and most wonderful Christmas they'd ever had. For a good Christmas spirit by the name of Ebenezer Scrooge had sent food and gifts and clothes to the Cratchit household.
The clock finished striking 9. No Bob. 15 minutes past 9. No Bob. And then at 9:30...
Cratchit!
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by coming in here this time of the day?
I'm very sorry, sir. I'm behind my time.
Yes, you are. Behind your time a whole 30 minutes. Come here, Cratchit.
It's only once a year, sir. It won't happen again. I'm afraid I was making rather merry yesterday, Mr. Scrooge. You see, someone delivered... we were surprised to receive...
Cratchit, I'm not going to stand for this sort of behavior any longer.
No, sir.
And I see no choice but to raise your salary.
Please, sir, I can't...
Yes, what? That's right. You heard me. Raise your salary.
Raise my salary?
And Merry Christmas, Bob. A Merry, Merry Christmas. Can you ever forgive an old fool?
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, no, sir. You're not a fool, sir.
But I'm going to raise your salary, and I want to help you to raise that family of yours, too. We're going to get Tiny Tim the best doctors in the world. He's going to be fine, Bob. He'll grow up strong and healthy. And we'll see if we can't find your oldest boy, Peter, a good position where he can learn a trade. Belinda, too. And schooling. The children will all need the best schooling. You know, it's cold in here. Now put some more coals on the fire.
Yes, sir.
No, never mind. I'll do it. Now here, you sit at my desk. And you just make yourself at home and you sit in my chair now. Put your feet up. I'll bring you a nice Christmas bowl of smoking bishop. It's about time, isn't it, Bob? A Merry Christmas to you, Bob Cratchit. A Merry Christmas to everybody!
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as a good man as the good old city knew. Some laughed at him, but he let them laugh, for he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happens that some people don't laugh. It was enough for him that he was happy. He never saw the spirits again, but he learned their lessons well, for it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas better than any other man. May that truly be said of all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
God bless us, everyone.
You've been listening to the radio dramatization of Christmas Carol, written by Philip Grecian, based on the novel by Charles Dickens, and presented by the Mistletoe Players. And so, good night, happy holidays, and Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Thank you all for coming.